different viewpoints on things in the world, and with Pierre, he delivers. And appreciate that. Our media brother from a different mother. There's another media brother here in the studio, Brian McMillan. Good morning.
How's it going, David?
Doing good. Having a great day. We've had some great weather. Love living in Florida. And
absolutely.
I don't mind the traffic. Drive through Orlando a couple of times and then bitch about DJs, and you feel a little ridiculous about that. But right. It's my editorial for the day. In the studio, Greg Blose.
Good morning, David. Great to be here again.
Never know where you're going to pop up.
That's right, yeah.
And we're going to talk about the drone show, the Sky Glow drone show, and you brought Kelly Navarro with you with Nexus 360. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi, good morning, David.
All right, good to have you. And Roy Seager, of course, our director at the Flagler Executive Airport.
Good morning, David.
And I know you worked hard to get that from the county airport. Some people still call it the county airport.
They do. Flagler County Airport rolls off the tongue, but it's been Flagler Executive Airport for about 10 years now.
All right. Our special guest this morning is our District 19 State Representative Sam Greco, reporting in from Tallahassee. Good morning, Sam.
Morning, David.
All right. So we're in full session in Tallahassee, and I appreciate the news up there. We're kind of asking you to be our reporter on the street in Tallahassee, if you don't mind helping us out like that. So
happy to do it.
Okay. So kind of like a session on. I know we only have you for a little bit here, but tell us, what do we need to know here in Flagler County, and what's Sam Greco working on?
Well, as you mentioned, we are now in the full swing of the regular session. We started 2 weeks ago, so about 9-week session. We're 2 weeks in. We're still moving a lot of bills through subcommittees and committees, as well as getting appropriations advancing hopefully into the budget. But for the for the county, I think the most important things are those budget items that I'm working along with Senator Lee to make sure that we're able to bring back some state funding back to the issues in the district. Legislatively, I've got a number of bills I'm working on, some in the criminal justice space, some in the consumer protection area, and some in some other aspects of the state that we're trying to make sure are operating to the best of their ability. It's been a busy several weeks here, but things are moving forward nicely.
Well, I'm sure you're learning a lot. Is it overwhelming now that, you replaced our House Speaker and Paul Renner and, you're up there representing us? Is it, are you liking it? Is it, like I said, overwhelming?
Well, it's an honor to be here and have the opportunity to represent District 19. It's really a privilege, and it's been exciting, and it's been an opportunity to move the ball forward. And as you mentioned, I have the distinct honor of succeeding a truly great leader for our state, Speaker Renner, and to stand on the shoulders of some giants and to continue to move the ball down the field. So it's been a tremendous opportunity.
This is the time when local government, cities, and a lot of other people come and they lobby in Tallahassee. And so here in Flagler County, we've got our county governments and our municipalities, our Palm Coast, Pinell, and Flagler Beach and everything. Are you seeing our representatives from Flagler County and Tallahassee?
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of friendly faces from Flagler County come visit us in Tallahassee. I was with our clerk of court, Tom Bexley, the other day, our tax collector, Shelley Edmondson, was in town a few weeks ago. We've had folks from the school district. We've had lots of conversations with the county commission and the various city councils, and then their representatives in Tallahassee. So I've had a lot of opportunities to talk with folks. Of course, it's always nice to see faces from back home walk into your office in Tallahassee. So I really appreciate those opportunities.
Okay, Brian McMillan.
Yeah, hi Sam. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about the budget items that you mentioned, that might help Flagler County and particularly from the state. Are there items that seem more likely or harder to get through?
Well, the budget process this year is going to look a little different than it has in years past. So we're expecting that this budget will look more like the 2019 budget than it will look like the past 4 years' budgets. And the reason for that is that over the past 4 years, there was a significant amount of federal dollars flowing into the state, a lot of it related to COVID, and that money probably should not have been spent by the federal government in the first place, but it was, and so it allowed the state to the benefit of being able to allocate it, and that let our budget swell in a way that now that those dollars are concluded are no longer benefiting our budget. So the budget is going to be a tighter budget than we've seen in 24, 23, 22, and 21. And again, I'd look back to 2019 as an example of that. And that's across the state. And that's been communicated by by just about every member of the legislature. And that's just the budget environment of this year. As far as specific budget requests that we're working on for the county and for the municipalities, we've got a lot of infrastructure projects. It's no surprise, I'm sure, to anybody listening, but that those needs in Flagler County are present and growing, and we're working hard to bring some dollars back to help alleviate some of those infrastructure concerns, whether they're related to utilities, to some water issues and drainage issues, to some projects to expand on the services offered to residents. We've got a number of items that we're hoping to get into the budget and ultimately be signed by the governor. But it's still early days. We're still in, as I said, just the second week of session. So the goal is to keep those budget requests moving forward, ultimately to the budget, to passage, and to the governor's pen.
Sam, I believe personally here that the last year with the work of the state, of course, and Renner at Hudson, kind of getting the funding to kind of bust through the Matanzas Woods into utilize western Flagler County with what they call the expansion out there. You're on Transportation and Economic Development subcommittee this year. Is the continuing to make that a developable and a positive thing on this year's agenda?
Well, I think that's probably as far as the actual work that's being done in that part of the county and the city. Definitely, that's a question that the county and the city would probably be better to answer. As far as the state budget, we're not looking at any specific allocations this year towards that project. There's still obviously money for those projects from previous year's allocations that the city and the county are in the midst of as well as FDOT in the midst of spending. But there aren't. I'm not expecting to see additional allocations in this year's budget directly to that specific project, to the road expansion.
What is the governor's priorities this year for this year's session?
Well, the governor has several. Obviously, immigration, which is all of our priority, and we've taken some very significant steps and passed the most conservative immigration legislation in the nation. But the governor has a series of other priorities, looking at some criminal justice items, as well as efficiency. That's a big word this year, but to make sure that Florida's government, which is very efficient, we have one of the lowest government employees per capita. We spend our dollars well, but there's always room for improvement, and the governor's spoken about that and how he wants to make sure that that the Florida government is running as efficiently as possible. and so I think that's something that you'll see. And another kind of buzzword that we talk about a lot is resiliency. And we've seen the importance of investing in resiliency and making sure that we continue to have a state that is able to withstand hurricanes or other disasters that come our way and bounce back quickly and support our residents when those come.
A term I haven't really heard of, I don't want to catch up, is this land banking with the schools. Do you know, I don't know if you're working on that or if you can fill us in, like what is the thing to kind of like, because I guess schools, they own huge amounts of land that they probably will never develop or use or anything in the state of Florida. Can you talk about that or no? I don't want to catch you off guard with that one.
I think with in a lot of respects, again, we're looking at efficiency. We're looking at how we can use state government resources as well as possible, and we'll see where that specific issue progresses.
Yeah, okay. No, it's interesting because I never really thought about it, that schools, they own all this land that no taxes are paid on, and it could be developable for different things and could help local municipalities in the state and all that kind of stuff instead of just like tying it up and sitting on it, but it counts as an asset for the schools for their credit ratings and things. So that was interesting. Never really thought of that. Sam, hey, I really do appreciate you. And also every other week, you're going to check in with us and give us updates. And this is your first one. Any questions for our state representative, Sam Greco, before we cut him loose here? Greg Blose?
No, I just want to wish Sam the best in his first session, right? He's a couple of weeks in. 7 more to go. So, Sam, keep up the good work on behalf of the residents in Flagler County, and thanks for your service.
All right. Very good. Kelly, Roy, anything?
Yeah, good morning, Congressman. This is Roy Seager, director at the airport. I met you before you were elected, and congratulations on being elected. And when you come out of session, look forward to you coming back and giving you a tour of the airport.
Well, that sounds great. Looking forward to that, Director. And Greg, thank you. And I wish you all the best for the drone show. It sounds like it's going to be a tremendous event.
Okay. Brian, anything before Sam goes?
No, again, it's a lot to take in. So I appreciate what you're doing to serve our community, and best of luck. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. All right. Hey, Sam, thanks a lot for looking out for us, representing us in Tallahassee, and we appreciate the updates and reports. In 2 weeks, we'll catch you again, okay?
Thanks, David. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Sam Greco, District 19 State Representative for Flagler County, St. John. He lives in St. Augustine, so he's a local guy. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back. What is going on at that airport? Roy Seager stirring it up. And Greg Blose, drone shows, Warbird fly-ins, Blackhawk helicopters, economic development, and a lot of good things going on. We'll be right back.
Well, my wife and I were going to get a bag of dog food, and as I got to about the middle of the intersection, we got T-boned.
It hit us so hard.
The insurance company was pretty tough to deal with, and so we called Jeff.
I want to thank Jeff personally for how he handled my case.
Thank you. Personal approach, professional results. Cats in Green, offices Palm Coast. Results may vary.
So thank you, Cats in Green, and particularly Jeff.
Are you wondering if that old paint in your garage is still any good?
Bring it in. We'll let you know.
And while you're at it, if you need to match a color,
chip off some paint and bring it in.
Our color matching is unmatched.
Benjamin Moore, corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
Owning rental property shouldn't be like a second job. At Serenity Realty Group, we handle the headaches from tenant screening to maintenance calls so you can enjoy the income without the stress. Call today, 386-221-2255, or visit serenityrg.com.
Yay, it is. Free for All Friday. It's a Friday. It's a good-looking one. A lot of great things coming up here around town. Not this weekend, but next weekend. We have a big event.
Right.
Warbirds over Flagler County, and this year we're throwing in a Sky Glow drone show. Talk a little bit about that. Just tease us a little bit with it. Kelly, go ahead. What is a Sky Glow drone show? What are we going to see out there?
Well, you're going to see a bunch of drones that's making formation with a storyboard that's going to be dedicated towards our veterans. and also with our executive airport. And it's going to be much fun. It's going to be a big family event. A salute to our vets. And we want everyone to come out and enjoy it and see what new aerial entertainment's all about.
Okay. Technically, I know it's really kind of a cool thing. They do them at Disney. A lot of people are replacing fireworks with these drone shows as well, because you got the sound, you got the audio, you got spectacular things in the sky and all that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And of course, the Warbirds coming in. But what else? Go ahead. Oh, who said something?
That was Roy.
So I was going to say, but there's a lot of other things going on at the airport. And of course, you're in the news, people complaining about there's a noise at the airport and they don't like the sound of the airplanes, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think you're ever going to, we've talked about that for years, that, if you buy a house near an airport, what would you expect to hear? I don't know. You buy a house next to a pig farm. I love pigs, by the way. They're so cute, but they stink. So
they taste good too.
Yeah, that's true. So when you buy a house next to the Daytona Speedway, you can't call up and complain of the cars making noise. And but anyway, that's just my own personal attitude toward it. But there's a lot of great things. It's an economic engine for Flagler County. With a lot of people don't realize all the land. How big is the Flagler County Airport, and it was put there for what purpose?
So the Flagler Executive Airport has been there since 1942. It was an outlying field for NAS Jacksonville, and it's 1,465 acres. People kind of, when you drive by Seminole Woods and then you pass by Belterre again, all that area you just passed, except the ones on the road, that's all, you just passed the airport. So it's a pretty big chunk of land.
Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lot of commerce. How does it make money?
Right. The airport is a true enterprise fund. We don't take any money from the avalorium tax at all. We make everything from people buying fuel, from land leases, building leases, T-hanger leases, ground leases, and selling hats and everything to make money. And so the great thing is, it's a true enterprise fund. We don't take any money from the taxpayers, and it's all self-sustaining. And if we're not making money, we're not spending money. And that pays for everything. That's our capital improvement projects. That's the salaries. That's everything with the whole operation of the airport.
So I'm seeing really cool Lear jets, private jets flying in. I'm like, who owns that one? Who are they? So we have some. Can you name drop a few people that have come? I know a lot of people don't that's why they probably like coming here, because they don't know where they are, what's going on. But just between us girls, tell me, give me some names.
Between us girls and all your listeners, yeah. So
we won't tell.
So we get a lot of different. So the neat thing about our airport, it's 5,500 foot long airport, so a little over a mile. So we can land the largest corporate jets there. So we get the big jets from corporate, from Gulfstreams to Global Expresses, and those people, people have a lot of money. People have second homes. They're coming here just to vacations. But so I can tell you, we've had years ago, we had Mark Zuckerberg here. Not too long ago, Luke Bryant was through here. Joe Gibbs comes a lot to go golfing. So we see a lot of different celebrities coming through.
And during the Daytona 500, a lot of the NASCAR guys.
We used to get a lot of NASCAR guys, but now the way they do it over there, they close one of the runways, so all the NASCAR guys like to go over there so they can park their jet next to each other, like my jet's bigger than your jet type thing. So we don't see that much anymore. But yeah, it does get pretty busy. It's not just the drivers, but also just the people coming in that wants to stay up in this area. So
is jet fuel sales a big thing here? What's it cost for a gallon of jet fuel?
You would ask me that. $5.75 a gallon.
Okay.
Right now.
And how much would I'm just curious, what's it cost to fill up my Lear jet if I decide to buy one?
A lot of money. So anyhow, those post people, those can get anywhere from 200, they're always got fuel, so they're not like empty. So people can take anywhere from 250 gallons up to 1,000 gallons.
Wow. Okay. And you were saying that the extension of the runway is a good thing for fuel sales for jets, and explain why.
Right. So having a longer runway, jets, we're in Florida, so we're low altitude, obviously, but also it gets hot. So jets don't operate very well when it's hot, so they need a longer runway. So having a longer runway allows them to take on more fuel.
Okay, so that runway would probably maybe pay for itself just with increased fuel sales?
Well, our portion of it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And kind of exciting, because when these jets pull up, and where do they offload their passengers right now?
Well, right now we have a very small FBO, and it's very exciting because we're about to, as you know, we're about to replace it with a brand new 15,500 square foot general aviation terminal facility.
So kind of paint a picture. Where's it going to be? What's it going to look like?
So right now, if you come into the airport, that's a signalized light. So when you would drive in, that's the you'll be looking right at the new facility. It's going to have a nice new roundabout. It's going to have the nice big facility right there. So big 55-car parking lot. So it's going to be the icing on the cake because I've been here 16 years. We totally rebuilt the airport in the last 13 years, 12 years, and $65 million worth of projects. This is adding on another $12 million of projects, and it's just going to be, like I said, icing on the cake to really take this airport to the next level.
The National Guard is out there, right? They built a huge.
They did built a big 74,000 square foot facility. Matter of fact, they like it so well here. They're building another facility back there. They're building another maintenance facility.
And so what do they do with the National Guard? I don't really see or hear anything. What do they do that
they're stealthy?
We're not supposed to know.
You're not supposed to know.
Oh, okay. Well, just tell us.
No, I'm just kidding. So the big facility there, they are air defense. So what does air defense do? Well, they shoot airplanes down during war. And actually, they have part of their mission is that they actually go up and they are stationed on top of some rooftops in Washington, D.C. as well to shoot down any aircraft that would come in and try to terrorist attack on the White House.
And it's training they do there, or
no? It's more of an administrative area for them. When they go to training, they go out to Camp Blanding.
And I saw a thing. Here we are. Roy's like, I thought we were going to talk about the Warbirds show. We will. We'll get to it. Don't worry. I think I saw in the newspaper that there is a Blackhawk repair facility moving here.
Can
you tell me about that, or is that top secret too?
No, that's not top secret. Okay. It's already been approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So it's a company called Van Dam Helicopters. They take old military helicopters, Blackhawk H-60s that they're not using anymore, and they buy them and then they refurbish them. And they either sell them to other allied countries, or they can repurpose them for air rescue or aerial firefighting.
To me, what would be cool if we could, or maybe we do, would be to go, hey, let's buzz to the Bahamas, for the weekend, and just go to the Flagler Airport and get on a plane and go to the Bahamas and come back, and here we are in Flagler County without going through all the rigmarole and stuff like that. Is there a time when we might be able to have a commercial type of a airline that we could use as just regular people here without owning our own plane?
You need to talk to your county commissioners about that. I was just kidding, but no. So we don't. I don't see any future that we would have to have a commercial service airport here. But David, you're a rich guy. You could lease a Lear jet and blast off to the Bahamas anytime. I mean, that's what most of these jets are coming here. That these jets are what they call fractional shares. They're not really owned by. There's some individuals that own their own jets, but the majority of the aircraft that are coming in here, jet-wise, they're fractional shares where they'll pay $100,000 to get so many flight hours a year, 50,000, whatever that number is. So you could buy it. You could buy shares in a Lear jet for $50,000, and you and your 8 closest friends can fly back and forth to the Bahamas a few times.
So I see a commercial. Is that what that is? With was it Mark Cuban? He does it for B-Jet or something. Where you can be like me if you're rich like me, but it almost makes it look like average or a little above average type people, but don't have to be a gazillionaire too. Is that what that is?
That's exactly what that is, right? And you'd be surprised how many people in Flagler County do that.
Okay. Would that brand could land here and pick somebody?
Now the big one that we come to here is we see UPS, we see NetJets, we see FlexJet. So those are the names we've been seeing over here.
Okay. All right.
I'm curious. So the air, the runway is 5,500 feet.
Right.
So how long would it have to be? Like, is it not long enough for a commercial type of a airplane?
So we could get commercial aircraft on that. There's commercial aircraft that land right now on shorter runways. We could get a 737 in there, no problem. We could get an Airbus 320 in there, no problem. So we could do it.
Would it be able to take off?
Yeah, like I always say, people always say, Roy, what's the largest aircraft you could land at the airport? I said, well, we could land a 747. It'll never take off again, but we could land it.
One-way ticket to Flagler County.
Yeah, and the history of the airport too. I mean, we've talked about that, but most people don't. A lot of people have moved in here. Some actual history. What was the Eastern Airlines plane made an emergency landing? And tell that story.
Well, there was a Constellation Air. It's called a Constellation. Eastern Airlines had to make an emergency landing here many years ago. It had a problem with actually killed. One of the propellers came off and ripped into the fuselage and killed a flight attendant. And then the big thing was, and I don't know if this is totally true yet, but that's what I did read this, so I saw it on the internet, so it must be true. They had a problem because at the airport they didn't have the air stairs to get the people off. So that was kind of the aha moment for people to start thinking about, hey, if we need to be at a place to get people off airplanes quickly. So that was, they say, that was where the slides were came from.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. That they didn't have emergency slides until that plane landed here, and because it's high up, right? I mean, what's the drop off from a passenger
Probably a Constellation, probably 15, 16 feet.
Yeah, that would
hurt.
That would hurt. Yeah. Okay. I'm not jumping.
Yeah. You jump first. I'll land on top of you.
Yeah. All right. Any other? Cool
let me just add some flavor to Roy's thing. So you asked about the Blackhawk helicopter company coming in here, right? This is the importance of, and with my past service in the community, we spent a lot of time at the airport. We would take leadership teams out there and tour the airport.
This is Greg Blose speaking. There you go.
So I think it's important. Like this is a community asset. This place is one of the leading places where economic development can occur. And, I understand the people and the noise complaints and all that. I mean, I get it, right? But the reality is for our community, this is one of the places where job creation can happen. And that just happened 2 Mondays ago at the Board of County Commissioner meetings where they approved that Blackhawk helicopter place coming in, right? So on one hand, for me, at a look at the big picture, it's like, wow, all this great stuff going on at the airport. And on the other hand, it's like, we have to be careful with the reputation that we have for places like this, specifically in this instance, the airport, and not to talk it down and trash it all the time because actual jobs can grow there. And now look at what we have, right? It's not a gigantic business, but certainly, those are going to be high quality jobs of people repairing aircraft in our facility that are going to be now at the airport for many years to come. So, keeping that positive brand, that positive community image, I think is really important for the airport.
Yeah, I mean, and for economic development, there's still land left for companies and businesses to come in.
Oh, absolutely. And not too long ago, and it was all in the papers, we really went after a French company that was making a hybrid aircraft that was part electric and part piston engine aircraft. But what was interesting about that, I mean, we really, just to show you how good our airport did, I mean, we really put, it came down to Daytona Beach and us International Airport, and we really put them on their heels. And unfortunately, we did come in second place, but that says that this airport, has the ability to bring in big companies like that. And that would have been huge.
What was the reason why we lost it to Daytona when we were in there so close?
I really think it was because of the relationship that company had with Embry-Riddle.
Yeah.
And they like to have that being so close to that.
So that's their labor force right there.
Right.
Well, plus you got the Micaplex across the street, right? Like the whole thing, I think it's.
But Daytona Beach is run out of space, so that's good. I mean, we have we have at the airport. We have the most contiguous property right now for development. We have over 130 acres of developable property. It's got the water, it's got the sewer, it's got fiber, it's got 3-phase power underground. It's got it all. And it's close access to I-95 and US 1. It's primed and ready.
All right. We're looking good. We're going to take a break. We're going to find out about the Warbirds Over Flagler and the Skyglow drone show coming up on, what are the dates of that, Greg, real quick?
March 22nd and 23rd.
Right around the corner. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
No matter
what time you reach out to Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens, when you call, you'll talk to a real person on the phone. Every loved one is treated as a special person, cherished by family and friends. Hundreds of families each year choose CFP. Learn more about all their services at DignityMemorial.com.
It is going to be an amazing time.
The future of conservative media is on WNZF.
We're making sense of the news.
Listen to Vince Colonnese, broadcasting live from Washington, D.C.
Vince Colonnese here, the new guy on your radio in Palm Coast. Weekdays, noon to 3 on News Talk Radio, WNZF.
The new powerhouse in talk radio.
You have the right to remain silent. I prefer freedom of speech. Call in and let's talk.
The Vince Show, now on Flagler County's News Talk Radio, WNZF.
It's time for Warbirds Over Flagler
and Sky Glow Drone Show.
Saturday, March 22nd, Flagler Executive Airport. Over 30 warbirds, thrilling formations, flybys, and displays. And when the sun goes down,
the skies come alive with hundreds of drones at the Sky Glow Drone Show. Warbirds Over Flagler and the Sky Glow Drone Show. Saturday, March 22nd. Warbirds only, March 23rd.
Discount tickets and details at warbirdsandrones.com.
Yeah, Warbirds Over Flagler, Sky Glow Drone Show, right here in our backyard. You don't even have to go to Orlando for it. Hopefully people from Orlando come over here.
That'd be great.
We've sold about 24 tickets to people in Orlando.
Really?
The furthest place people are coming from is just west or east of Tampa.
So these are really two events you guys have kind of teamed up on it, because the Warbirds Over, that's been morphed over the years from, what was the very first one years ago that we did with, I can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of look at Roy's.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, I know we used to call it Freedom Fest.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
and that was one of them.
Then before that, it was something. Anyway, but either way, I know.
No, it was Wings Over Flagler.
There we go.
Yeah, it was Wings Over Flagler.
Yeah. So now it's Warbirds Over Flagler.
Yeah, so we've been doing like shows for 14, 15 years.
And you've moved it so everybody knows where the airport is, and that was all done at the front entrance by the high school on 100. But you kind of turned the back of the airport into a little festival area, right?
Right. So now the if you came to it last year, it was on the back of the airport. You go down Belterre about 1.1 miles and make a left onto Fenway. And when you come back there, that's where you'll see the big new Army National Guard facility. I won't say new; it's been there for 4 or 5 years now. But so that's where it is back there. If you also came to the fireworks last year or last couple of years, that's where you've been going as well.
So that's where it's going to be from now on.
That's where it's going to be for now. Everything's going to be back there.
All the events and everything that go on. So Warbirds, how many Warbirds could describe? I always try to get educated, because you have it's a T-43 or it's a, blah, 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 and everything. I'm like, what is that? What's it look like? So give us a visual description of the Warbirds that are coming to Flagler County.
So one of the really cool aircraft we got coming this year, we've had one here before, but it's been a long time. We're having a C-47. That is the aircraft. Some people call it a DC-3, but that's the aircraft that shrunk the world. But it was very pivotal aircraft used during World War II. That's where all the paratroopers jumped out of when they jumped onto Normandy. We have T-6 is going to be there. Those were training aircraft to teach people how to fly airplanes, and then ultimately fly fighter aircraft. Same thing with the TBM Avenger. They dropped torpedoes to sink submarines during World War II. T-28s that were used during Korea. They were actually, believe it or not, it was a prop plane, but it had a lot of different systems on it to help it to people learn to be a jet pilot. And we have some CJ-6s as well. Those were Nanchang training aircraft. So
is that a jet?
No, that's a prop plane.
Okay.
We do have two jets coming. We have a T-33, again, another training jet, and an L-39 was another training jet, and that was used in Russia. So we got about 30 aircraft coming, so it's going to be pretty cool.
Are these all privately owned?
Yes.
So it's like a hobby for these guys?
You're right.
It's an expensive hobby?
It can be.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. Probably the cheapest aircraft out there. Oh, and also, too, we do have a gentleman coming over from the guy that bought Jumbo Air, where John Travolta lives. He's bringing over some airplanes as well. He's bringing over a couple P-51 Mustangs. So he said he's going to surprise me and bring something else. So I don't know what that is yet. So
okay,
we just met him a couple weekends ago.
So how many did you say total?
About 30, between 30 35.
And so what happens? I've never been there before. I go in the back way off Belterre, follow the signs to the airport, and what am I going to see, and what's going to be in the air, what's going to be on the ground?
Right. So when you get there, you're going to come in, and you're going to park, and we can talk about that. Actually, I'm going to let Greg talk about that, the different pricing. But if you're just coming to Warbirds, you're going to pay $5 per carload, right? So on Saturday, that's going to be from 10 to 6. So you'll be able to come in, you're going to park, and then we're going to have a whole area where you're going to have stage with music and bleachers and a bunch of vendors as well, food and beverage vendors. So a lot of that's going to be going on, and then you can walk out onto the runway. That's where all those aircraft are going to be parked. And then so you can walk up to them, and you can, feel the aircraft, look at the aircraft, and then also, talk to the pilots as well. And some of them, they're very nice, and they'll even let you climb up and get into their aircraft as well. But throughout the day, we're also going to have, all those aircraft, they're going to be going up in the air at different times during the day, flying in flying formation and coming by, putting their smoke on for the crowd. So the big thing we want to tell everybody, the gates open at 10, so you want to get there, but at 12 o'clock is when you want to be there. That's going to be the opening ceremony. So we're going to have the opening ceremony. We're going to have the national anthem. We're having the colors being presented by the ROTC from Embry-Riddle. So it's going to be, it's always pretty neat at 12 o'clock.
One of the best stories that I remember, it was a few years ago with the Freedom Fest, I think it was, where you had the Berlin, the candy bomber.
You're right. That was a good story.
And a local lady here in her 90s came out, and she was looking at it, and she was a little girl was it in Germany, in Berlin?
Right.
And she stood at the end of the runway as they threw candy out in little parachutes to her, and she just wanted to come and see this plane that she had seen. And I don't know how it was. She wasn't there to talk about it. She was just there for herself. And then just by small talking, I think, did you get the story on there? Or Pierre did?
I think so.
I mean, we had it on the radio, but I think Pierre picked up on it, and it was like just like, oh my God. I mean, I can't even imagine that it'd been, like 80 some years.
Yep. So what would happen is when those Berlin aircraft were going in, a C-54, they would drop. They had little parachutes, like handkerchiefs, and they put candy on them, like Hershey bars, and they drop them out of the airplane and on final approach, and all the kids would be there, and the kids would get a candy bar. Well, she was so small, she never got one. So my good friend Tim Chope, he was good enough, and he actually had one of those and went up into the cockpit and dropped it down to her. So she finally got her. So she finally got her parachute.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. I'm gonna have to add that. I'll add that to my story. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
was,
how cool. Well, it's a cool thing to bring kids out to.
Absolutely.
And I've told the story. I feel like, without you being here, I tell your story of you don't know, and we talk about at the Education Foundation and the school's career fair. Of you never know. That's why it's so important to bring your kids out to things like that, because you just know what moment in their life where they go, Dad, I want to be a pilot, or I want to be a newspaper reporter like Brian McMillan. I mean, but you don't ever know what sticks in. Just like, I think we all have. And Roy, you had, when you were kind of struck as maybe starstruck or something. Tell about your story as a kid.
Oh, so my dad, back when I lived in Ocala, and we lived really, really close to the airport, and my dad used to take me on the back of his motorcycle, and we would drive to the airport, and we would sit on a little bench next to the Coke machine. My dad would buy me a Coke, and we would sit there and watch airplanes. And I actually told that story to people when I retired from the Marine Corps, and I just never knew how that would impact my whole life of loving aviation, and then going in from going out of high school, going into the Marine Corps for 20 years, being in Marine Corps aviation for 20 years, and get my degree from Embry-Riddle, and then ultimately, being an airport director and running airports. And I literally just went over 20 years running airports now. So it's been never knew that direction I would take, but I guess that airplanes always inspired me. And that is the big thing why I like to do these events. And it is to inspire the next generation of aviators.
So
it was either that or you could have worked for Coke, I guess. That would've
I
been-
could have. Yeah, it'd been a great commercial for Coke. Yeah. I'll give him a call.
Ruin you ruin the mood.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, all right. So that's why he's a Coke delivery guy now. This is really a cool thing, and the added on to it this year is the Sky Glow drone show. Right. And like years ago, we would do fireworks after it, and people like that, and would come around to it. But this year, it's something brand new. I've never seen one. No, actually, I never have. I've seen them on videos, and they're pretty elaborate and everything. Have you ever been to a drone show?
I haven't. I've seen little clips of them, on YouTube and stuff, but I've never seen one in person. So
on the news in Orlando, we're the one crashed, but don't worry about it here. I mean, because I know. Look at Roy. Like, how come you brought that up here? But the point is, it's not going to be flying over people here, so it'll be very safe. So I think that should be addressed to it. So
yeah, well, that was a part of the decision that Kelly and I made when we decided where we wanted to do it. We could have hosted this event anywhere in Flagler County. It was important to us to do it in Flagler County. But the safety aspect is also important. I got a 5-year-old, and my oldest son just turned 13 yesterday. But it's safety. Like, I'm bringing my own kids to this event. The airport, as you've heard Roy say, 1,300 acres. He's got millions of dollars of airplanes on the runway. Like, we're going to make sure the drones are nowhere close to people, and that was a big part of wanting to be able to do this, was the safety aspect of it. That's why we're at the airport.
How big are the drones?
Oh, geez. The drones are they're fairly large. They're
so
if
you're watching on your camera, you can see Greg hold his hands out. Yeah. There you go.
About, I would say, 18 inches, 24 inches, in diameter.
Mm-hmm.
The drones themselves, we're going to have several hundred of them making formations in the sky.
Several hundred of them?
Several hundred.
They're all in the air at the same time?
That's right. They're synchronized. The formations will be animated, too. So when you see something in the sky that lights up, there are certain ones that will be animated. So we don't want to kind of, ruin what the show is going to be
Don't
about.
give it all away.
But I'll give you just one. We'll give them one. So we originally wanted to make the sea, and it was like sand, sea, and sky. That was the original theme that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So we've actually been working to create what the formations are going to be in the sky. So there will be a gigantic shark in the sky swimming around. And here's the other thing about the drone show, though, David. You have to be in the viewing area to see it. And I don't, people probably think about fireworks, so I can see them from everywhere.
Yeah, I'll just go park it at FPC, and I'll be able to see it.
You won't see
Nope.
anything.
Won't see it. Yeah, well, I was going to bring that
Dang,
up.
that was my whole plan.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Nice try.
$5. No, actually, it's more. We'll talk about the pricing for that, but go ahead.
So, but the safety was a huge part of it. But the other thing that, you and Roy were talking about was the STEM and the aviation. And so it just fits, right? Like, Roy has the Warbirds Over Flagler event, the vintage aircraft. Like, that's super cool. And they do all the air show and the smoke and the, test bomb runs with bags of flour and stuff like that, which is just amazing.
I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
And but this is the future of aviation, right? Like, literally, Amazon's going to be delivering packages to you with drones in the future, right? That's hasn't been in the news for a while, but that's coming fairly soon. And so this is about aviation, and it's about also STEM for students. And a portion of the proceeds we're going to use to send to Rick Green over there at Teens in Flight. We've become familiar with Rick over the years with different charities that we were working on, and what they do over there at Teens in Flight is amazing. So we hope that we can help fund the education of a future pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, that's legitimately what it is. Mm-hmm. But gigantic shark in the sky swimming around, and that's just one of many things that you'll see. And these things truly are starting to replace. And if you've seen any of the videos that we've done on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and wherever else we have them, that's where you can kind of see they make formations and jets. So there will be a aviation portion of this, and we're going to end it all with a patriotic salute to veterans, because that's a big part of Roy's event. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the imagery that you'll see is in connection with the actual Warbirds Over Flagler event, but it's also showcasing the future of aviation.
And this is how long does it last?
From start to finish, it's 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the drone batteries with the lights can only go so far. So, yeah.
And it's all coordinated with music and sound effects or whatever you're doing,
That's
right?
right.
So that's why another reason why you got to be there at the back of the airport off Belterre. Otherwise,
It kind of won't make sense.
Yeah, you won't see or hear anything.
Because it's narrated and music and lights. So, yeah.
Okay, so the cost to get in, if say, okay, I want to go to the drone show on Saturday night, and then I'll come back Sunday for the Warbird thing. What do I pay Saturday?
Yeah, so $25 for adults, $20 for kids. Prices are subject to change, but that's where we're at. We're excited. We tried to make this as affordable as we can, but if you can imagine how much it costs to bring in hundreds of drones and coordinate this show. They've got 3 or 4 different pilots for all these drones. It's a crazy expense. And the reason why Kelly and I wanted to invest, by the way, our own money into doing this is, and where the idea even came from was, I'm taking the kids to Daytona to go to Sky Zone. I'm taking the kids up to St. Augustine to go to this thing. There's nothing in this community that's aside from like the parks, which are amazing. I love going to Holland Park and, all the parks that we have here in our community, but there's like really nothing that you can go to that's going to be like, wow, this is something for the family here that we can do. And we can go that aside from like special events, which we do. So we're trying to add to that, and so we've spent tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars to bring the drone show here and to provide some family friendly entertainment and to highlight STEM education and aviation and the airport. And we're really excited about doing that.
All right, cool. So we know drones will be flying on Saturday night. What about what planes will be flying and when?
All those planes I said earlier, they'll be flying from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And the big thing is, too, also is really cool. We had it last year, is the flower bombing contest. And it was really a big hit last year, and my guys really got into it this year. We actually built a tank out of wood now this year. And so so that's going to be out there on the field. And basically these aircraft come in tandem aircraft with the pilots in the front and passengers in the back. And passenger in the back has a little 2-pound bag of flour. And when the pilot tells them to throw, they throw it out the...
Stay on target.
Stay on target and throw it out and see who gets closest to the target.
So
nobody came close to hitting it last year, by the way. The cameraman almost got hit. That was the closest one.
What about you hanging out of the helicopter, dropping a bag of flour?
No. I dropped 800 golf balls last year. No, we're not doing the golf ball drop again this year.
All right. So how far do these planes come from to here?
Oh, I got planes that come from most of them come from Florida, and we have a few that come from Georgia, and I think I got one coming from Tennessee this year.
All right. Okay. Awesome. So that will be March 22nd, 23rd.
Right.
Right at the Flagler Executive Airport. Right. Can they get tickets online now or what?
Warbirds and Drones. Warbirds and drones.com. Tickets are on Eventbrite if you can't remember that. It's all over social media. So, and just to be clear about the question you asked earlier. So yes, your entry, if you were to come for the drone show on Saturday night only, you could get into the Warbirds Over Flagler on Sunday at no cost. So we're trying to make it an affordable family event where, it's a full day and night of entertainment for $20 for kids.
Well, but actually, I'd say that ticket, if you buy that ticket, it's good Saturday and Sunday for Warbirds and the drone show. Right.
So for $25 for an adult, $20 for a kid, it's good. It's like a weekend pass.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But if you're only coming to Warbirds, you got to leave by 6, and that's only cost you $5.
Yep.
So 10 to 6, Warbirds only, $5. 10 to 3, another $5. Warbirds only.
All right. Kelly, come on, get a word in there edgewise, will you?
No, this is fun and this is super exciting. I think you guys mentioned earlier about, the future of STEM programs and our kids. And I think this is, having you see this up in person in your own backyard is crucial. And for families to see it. So many people have never experienced a drone show and realize it's technology. So I think it's, quoting, you guys, I think it's really going to be really beneficial for children and also the program and the scholarships that we're trying to do.
Okay.
So I think it's really key for us as business owners.
Thanks for doing it. We're glad you're doing it here.
So
Greg Blose.
I was going to say, so be part of history and come see the first drone show in Flagler County.
Yeah, there we go. All right, final words. We got to go. Greg Blose.
All right, warbirdsandrones.com. We'll see you Saturday for the Warbirds Over Flagler and the Sky Glow Drone Show. So thanks.
Okay. Kelly, you had your last word. You're done.
No, I'm done.
Roy Seager, final words.
I hope everybody has a great weekend. We hope forward to see you next weekend at Warbirds Over Flagler and the Sky Glow Drone Show. Please come out and check it out.
All right, Brian.
Yeah, thanks everybody for making a fun weekend. Have a great day.
Okay, very good. Hey, we're ending on time today, Mark. How about that? I don't know. Make a good landing here. Anyway, Free for All Friday. You can hear us the podcast. We broadcast on live video and wherever, all over the place these days, and our audience is growing. We thank you very much for being a part of it. Have a good weekend. Be safe.